Chatty Bobby. Welcome to Wrasslin with Big E and the PODCAst, tag champs of the whole world, slamming like a DDT. Got it like just like a figure four. Hulk Hogan, all they do is flex. Talking wrestling while they get the dough. Off the top like a superplex. Think they letting up? Hell no. Dusty Rose with the elbow. From the corner like a stinging splash straight to the face. I know you felt those. Hey, y'all crying out for help though. Rising up like the dead man. About to go upside your head like Stone Cold with the bedpan. Bottom line, if you want the facts, welcome to Wrestling's where you need to be. Chatty Bobby, this show improved like John Cena, you ain't seeing me. Bottom line, if you want the facts, welcome to Wrestling's where you need to be. Chatty Bobby, this show improved like John Cena, you ain't seeing me. Yeah.
Hey, welcome to Wrasslin. I'm the POT alongside my tag team partner, Big E, aka Them Wrestling Boys. And we're here to bring you a very special premium wrestling content video. And it is the post night one of WrestleMania 41. Big E, we got a big one to talk about tonight, bro.
Yes, sir. Hey, well, night one is in the books. And we just got done watching the press conference or whatever. So, yeah, man, let's do the review, man. Jey Uso and Gunther. Caught us off guard. I called I said Uso was going to win. That match, it was a good match. They got all this stuff in. You got to see Gunther going from the top rope.
Right.
You know,
like a real frog.
Right. He looked like a frog for real.
Right.
But to win clean, made him tap out, and it was a quick tap out too.
Yeah, that piggyback off what you were saying. I think it kind of caught me off guard as far as not Jey Uso winning.
Right.
It was so much of how Gunther, I kind of felt like it made him look kind of weak.
Yeah. As
far as the way he tapped out. Not even him tapping out itself, but the way he tapped out. I know he took three splashes from top rope and
took the spear.
Yeah, he took the spear. I get that. I get that. I mean, that,
yeah.
They're human beings, right? Supposedly. But he tapped out kind of quick. It wasn't like he almost grabbed the rope or he countered and then he put him back in it,
right.
Or it was nothing. It was like he was like 10 seconds and he was like, boom. I was like, damn, that threw me off.
I don't even think it was that. It didn't seem like it. It seemed like we kind of figured, it was coming to an end, like they were about to go home, and then
right
out of nowhere he started tapping, and it just definitely was caught off guard with that. Excited for Jey Uso to play crazy.
Absolutely.
Big Jim came down there as twin, and they celebrated.
Right.
I thought, to me, it seemed like the celebration was kind of bland to a certain extent, because there's so much, and I understand Roman can't come down there. He's got a big match later on that night. And, I guess they didn't want to bring Rikishi in or stuff like that, but it just seemed like, to me, like the celebration would have been bigger, but he did get the fireworks. They walked off through the crowd. It seemed like his brother is like genuinely so proud of him.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's their brotherly love, that they got for each other.
I mean, and that's his twin.
Right.
So shout out Jey Uso. Well deserved. We're happy for you. Been tag team wrestler, Uso brothers, and just weird. It was just a weird finish. It was like something was missing. It was just, and it was a good match.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, well, so not even poo-pooing on the match. Gunther do his thing again. He's physical, and like you said, he with the frog splash, looking like a real frog. And, I mean, Jay was clean. His whole WrestleMania get up was tight. Like everything was it did their thing. It was just I just kind of felt like he just tapped out. Kind of that just to me that made Gunther look weak.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I will, want to go back a little bit for a second. We've been waiting on WrestleMania. We excited. We recording in the same spot. This is only the second time, this being episode 17, that we get to do it, together. So we went past the celebrities, the 61,000 in attendance, sold out. Let's talk about the set for a minute. The set was amazing.
Absolutely.
And the people sitting on top of like what we would call back in the day the Titantron.
Right.
The fans getting to sit up there and see, like we've been to live events where we sit right by the aisle where they come out and stuff, but imagine being up top and watching them walk out up under you.
You know what it's like, how they didn't used to have seats above the Green Monster.
Yeah.
Now they got seats above the Green Monster now.
Yeah. And that would be the Boston Red Sox Stadium for all you non-baseball or sports fans.
Anyway.
Right, yeah. But I thought everybody's entrance looked good, and we'll get into detail on that, but just wanted to cover the fact that this is Welcome to Wrestling. We're excited. It's WrestleMania. We got one more night. We're in the same spot. So we're going to be jumping all around and probably, be unorganized, but we having fun. Let's go to the New Day and the War Raiders.
Well, first of all, they both, again, entrance. They both had their get up. New Day had looked like they did a little throwback to Giant Gonzalez.
Right.
WrestleMania 9.
R&B Giant Gonzalez.
Right. Or Elegante, for those of you that remember him in WCW. But they so they had like the little get up with the fur and
had the unicorn, only 2 unicorns on the back.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Which is throw, New Day. But the match itself, I thought they delivered. They was hitting their spots.
Yeah.
Double team moves, and I tell you what, man, that Ivar, that big man, he's no joke,
man.
Yeah.
But when they had him sitting against the ring, and
right.
when he did that body press, that was ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, but he's definitely a risk taker.
Right.
Definitely a risk taker, especially for a big guy.
And they had good double team moves, just like when he slammed Ivar over, and Kofi and Xavier caught him outside onto the floor. Yeah. So I felt like the match delivered for what it was. They didn't make the War Raiders look weak, but you just kind of had a feeling that New Day also, they were talking about how they had a real bad WrestleMania record. Xavier Woods was 0-6 in WrestleMania.
Right. Kofi's like 2-11,
2-13.
2-13, yeah.
So of course he had the Kofi Mania in WrestleMania 35,
right.
but 2-13 though.
Yeah.
And I didn't know New Day was like 0-5 in WrestleMania history.
Yeah.
Like dang, I wouldn't have thought that.
It is crazy because they won. They went over. They're the new tag team champions. And it's their 11th time, so they got the record as far as being WWE Tag Team Champions more than anybody.
Well, 12 times now.
12 times now. So that means, and they were 0-5 at
WrestleMania.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
right.
That blew my mind.
Yeah, so this is the only time they would have retained and or won the titles.
Right. At WrestleMania.
Out of 12 times. That's crazy. But they did deliver, like the way the New Day went over, they cheated.
It was a throwback WrestleMania 5 with Ravishing Rick Rude,
Ultimate
Warrior, and
yeah,
Continental Championship match.
Bobby Brain holding the leg down.
Absolutely.
Right. So and you gotta love that, man. You gotta love paying homage, even if some people aren't gonna recognize that stuff. Paying homage to the people that paid the way before you.
Absolutely.
And made a way for you to be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then we're gonna go to Jade and Naomi. Jade and Naomi. Now, I want to say that we both said it was going to be a squash match. It wasn't going to be, we didn't say it was the bathroom break, but we did say it was going to be a quick match. And they both got their stuff in. They went at it. Naomi looked good. She looked strong. But Jade, who is bigger, stronger, looked bigger, looked strong. He caught her into the by the head and threw up and then did a jackhammer.
Yeah, that was nice.
And Naomi, it ain't like she 110.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And not a big girl, but built.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, that was great.
What about when Jay did that power bomb?
Oh, bro. Yeah, that was like, she really brought some stuff out tonight.
Right.
And that goes to the point of what we talked about before is them pulling her off TV, getting her to the power plant, polishing her up a little bit more to where she can make a showing for herself. That's exactly what they did, exactly what she did, man. Shout out to Jade, man. Shout out to her outfit, too.
Yeah. Now, and I did say this in our preview, but we both said this would probably be the match that had the least time given. Right. However, I have to admit, that was a real good match.
Yeah, they did.
Like Naomi, they let her do her thing, and no disrespect to Naomi at all anyway. I mean, she's been in the game for a long time, former world champion.
Right.
So no disrespect to Naomi at all. But it was like they let her look strong. They didn't let her look weak.
Right.
It was and it was like you could tell that Jade grown too as a competitor.
Right.
And I felt like they delivered for what they was looking for.
Absolutely. So Jade's second WrestleMania match, but first singles match.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So shout out to both of them, man. They both put on a showing. Wasn't a bad match tonight. We're gonna keep reviewing, but everybody delivered. Everybody stood up. Everybody did what they supposed to do. Took advantage of being on that WrestleMania card.
Right.
So, Jacob Fatu in LA Knight. Jacob came out with the werewolf mask with the grill, with the dreads on it. Came out with Solo pumping him up. I like the fact that Solo came out with him, dapped him up, getting him hyped up, and then let him go out there on his own.
Right.
Go out there on your own, take care of business.
Right.
That's exactly what it is. LA Knight pulled up in the Maserati, got out the passenger seat, One thing I do like about LA Knight, his boots are based off Jordans. So he had the patent leathers on tonight.
Yeah, them 11s.
Yeah.
My favorite.
That was cool. I've said this before that, you would really get to see Jacob bring his arsenal out tonight. He definitely did that. He definitely took some bumps. He stole well. His near falls were good. That one near fall near the ropes, how he just threw his arm up there so fast and caught on. Man, dude's a pro. Dude's going to be a superstar. Brand new United States champion. And it's just, a stepping stone for him right now. This is not the end for Jacob Fatu or the ceiling.
Right.
It's just a one of many if he stays healthy and stays doing what he's doing.
Well, my comments on the match, taking the main event out of it, this was my favorite match of the night.
Yeah.
They brought it. LA Knight, of course, all that LA Knight, the crowd, it was good hearing that, because the crowd interacts with him like we're not.
Right.
But he brought his A game.
Yeah.
Like he knew he was in the ring with the werewolf.
Yeah.
And it was like he delivered. They both delivered. Physical, They was hitting their spots. They was hitting their moves. Like the BFT caught them off the top.
Yeah.
I mean,
and turned that into the
yeah.
That was slick.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Jay was gonna hit the moonsaults perfect.
Right.
You know, so he got 2 of those in. He did the handspring joint, did the you know, all this other stuff, man. He just, and you see one of his goals got knocked out too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I know he's glad it wasn't one of the real team, but one of the goals that got knocked out. So, but shout out to Jacob Fatu, man. His first title, well, his first singles title.
Right.
He did win the tag team title, even though he gave the
belt up.
Yeah. Well, a belt's what hold your pants, so that's a title. But
all right, thanks.
But I was extremely excited for that. I thought he was gonna win. I predicted him to win. And so he's one of my favorites right now. One of my absolute favorites, man. Shout out to Jacob Fatu, man. And shout out to LA Knight. LA Knight, hey, if you can, when you wrestle somebody like Jacob Fatu, he beats you clean, but you hang with him, you hurt him, you get near falls on him. You know, it gives you a little bit of bragging rights. You know,
they delivered.
You done ran through everybody, but I made you earn it. I made you pay too. You know, so I thought it was good, man. I don't see anybody but Gunther in the night that end up looking bad or looking weak like you talked about. We had Americano Luchador, whatever his name is, Chad Gable and Ray Phoenix.
That is not Chad Gable, man. Why you don't stop? Don't do that, man.
Hey,
don't do that.
When Michael Cole called Wade Barrett, you idiot. That's Chad Gable, you idiot. He's no luchador. You know, Michael Cole was on one tonight.
Yeah.
He really was.
He probably drinking that Jack Daniels he was drinking the other night with Pat McAfee and Big Night Out.
But he's got plenty of, I mean, he's the voice of WWE and has
no
been
doubt.
for years.
No doubt.
But his personality really, you know, it comes out somewhere there once in a while, but it really came out tonight. And I think it's almost like Pat McAfee and Saban. Like McAfee can bring that out of you to loosen up a little bit.
Pat McAfee and Belichick.
Right. You know, so I thought that was cool, man. I really liked, you know,
right,
different stuff that he was doing.
Right.
But Rey Mysterio got hurt at SmackDown, so they pulled him. So Ray Phoenix, who been in WWE for what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, like 2 weeks, 3 match, this is like
right.
Third match this week.
Yeah, got a WrestleMania check.
Right.
You know, so shout out to him, man. I'm sure he hated the way he got it, but you know, what a feeling for him to see his brother get signed, and then AEW, you know, of course, we're just going off the stuff that we read.
Right.
You know, it ain't like Tony Khan be filling us in yet. But you know, them, you know, kind of holding him to his contract and making him, they wanted to make him do the dates that he missed while he was hurt.
Right. Right.
Because their contract's supposed to be up on the same day. So
right.
I want to say they added like maybe 18 months to his contract.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because of the time that he was hurt. And for him to get out of that contract, get over here with his brother, and then, oh my God, I'm about to be on WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? So, and let's not forget, like the announcement was made that they acquired
Triple A.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely that came out of nowhere.
Right.
And that man, I don't know what else to say about that. Again, I like Ray Phoenix. I've been watching Ray Phoenix since I saw him in Pentagon and Lucha Underground. And you know, all that, the Lucha Bros, you know, for those of you to watch AEW and or if you're able to get to watch any of Triple A or whatever that you get your wrestling content, people know who Ray Phoenix and Pentagon is,
right?
You know, outside of WWE. However, those of you that just WWE fans who don't know who these guys are, or work before,
right?
So WWE, they've been doing this thing for a long time, and they've been amazing for a long time, and it was just cool for me to see Pentagon get to run them. I mean, not Pentagon, but Ray Phoenix get to run them ropes and do his, get a few moves in.
Right.
And Chad Gable, man.
Man, he's a beast.
Yeah, he talking about wrestling machine. He's underrated.
Yeah.
As far as pure wrestling,
right.
like a small Kurt Angle, which I'm sure a lot of people won't disagree with that.
Right.
Kurt Angle, but
like
that
Shelton Benjamin,
right?
The Charlie Haas,
absolutely,
yeah, he was fitting perfect with them,
absolutely,
yeah. But with the suplex that he does,
the German,
yeah, man, he's so small but yet so strong,
right,
right, and of course, wrestling, especially where they come from, is all about leverage,
right?
So he knows all about that stuff. I thought the match was very exciting.
Right.
We both picked Rey Mysterio to win, so that one got taken out of the equation, and I hate that because them acquiring AAA, I'm sure he's going to be involved in that somehow. Right. But you hate for anybody to miss WrestleMania due to injury, especially one night away. Like he got hurt last night,
especially somebody who's like Ray, just like we talked about, a Randy or somebody
right.
on the back nine.
How many they got left?
Yeah, I mean, he got left.
Yeah, because anything can happen. I mean, you could be like, I just can't do it no more. I can retire.
Right.
Because WrestleMania's a whole other year away.
Right.
And that's what 200 and something dates.
Yeah.
150 dates or whatever. So,
yeah.
But man, shout out to Rey Mysterio, Hall of Famer, legend. And hopefully he gets another shot at getting a WrestleMania match.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but the match was good. Love how they played it at the end when we were talking about back in the 80s, the Russian assassins who used to put the quarter in their mask and do the headbutt.
Right.
And so it's like a play off of that, or, just a little more extreme.
Right.
But, he did all that, but they all got their moves. Like you said, you got to see Ray run the ropes, do his kicks. And his legs are so long, bro. So the roundhouse that he do, man, it was exciting to watch. I can't wait to see them put them together and do some tag stuff together.
Right.
And I'm sure they will soon. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Well, there's two things I want to touch on though. I'm gonna get back to Lucha Bros, but I want to talk about how he put the thing in his head, right, in the mask, but he ran the ropes and did the kick, and that's how he showed that
injured his foot because he kicked the metal
right,
or whatever.
Right. But what did we see?
Okay. The ankle lock was on the submission hold on the leg
was on the wrong leg. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Which we just being nitpicky, but that
But if you want to go even more into that, as soon as he got up, he didn't sell either leg.
Right.
So that's what I believe. We're gonna get off topic just for a second. That's where them old timers come in that don't like. That's what they don't like.
Yeah, because you're doing all the spot stuff.
There's so many spot stuff that you're not telling the story.
Right.
And that's when you get away from telling the story. Because if you sell it and then you don't sell it.
Right.
2 minutes later.
Then that's what's phony.
Right. And then that takes away from the story. Then it's all about the match.
Right.
And wrestling, the match is about telling the story.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what it gets away. That's what the old people don't like. The old timers don't like. They don't like the spot matches and stuff. But again, he's only been there for 4 weeks. He'll get there. I'm sure if we noticed it, they definitely noticed it.
Right.
Right. So, and I'm sure they'll take care of all that. I got no doubt in my mind that he's not going to do great things over there.
Oh, absolutely.
As long as he stays injury free.
And another thing cool about the whole Lucha Bro things is they both, of course, Phoenix got the match late, but they both on each night.
Mm-hmm.
So he got to see his brother night one,
right,
and he get to see bruh night two,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's gonna be cool,
and probably proud to death of each other, man.
Yeah,
excited that, you know,
they made it.
Right. Let's talk about one more thing about this match. Not only did, of course, like I said, Chad Gable, or you know, whatever, American Grande, whatever his name is,
Right.
The headbutt off the top rope. That move has not been used, or I haven't seen it on WWE
since the Crippler.
Since the announcement was made. The next day, after they did the tribute. So I thought that was, you know, that, I mean, just seeing it, when he went up there, I was like, he's not, yeah. And they came down, so that's when I looked at you, I was like, when was the last time you seen that? You know, so that was, you know, for those of you who know, then you know. So we're definitely not going to get into that subject, especially tonight. But that was a rare move that hasn't been used in years. And a lot of people really frown on that move as far as, you know, all the circumstances and everything.
Right.
But them guys did show out. Like I say, it wasn't a very long match, but they got their stuff in, told somewhat of a story, and especially to put a match in, you know, within 24 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so you gotta give them love for that anyway, to be able to pull that off.
Right.
You know. So Tiffany and Charlotte, we both pretty much said, well, I said Charlotte was gonna win. We both talked about this match not really being all that exciting, and thinking, you know, was the one we really is the one match you didn't really care about. And I think we pretty much put our foot in our mouth saying that. Because the match was good. The match got personal. And but I'll let you talk about that one.
Well, okay, early in the match, they both was hitting their spots. Like pretty much everybody was. I didn't see a whole lot of sloppiness in any of the matches tonight.
Right.
You know, just blatantly sloppiness.
Right.
But this was the one match that I did see something early. Well, it wasn't quite early. They was doing their moves early, but then it got to a point where they did some Irish whip stuff where their timing was off.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, that was kind of weird. And then it kind of got weird for like a good 30 seconds. Like they was like the weird counters, and I was like, it kind of like the chemistry was off.
Right.
And then something clicked. And then it was just like the rest of the match, man. Tiffany Stratton, she grew up tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Straight up, when I watched that match, especially after I saw that it got weird with their timing, because I was kind of like about to poo on the mouth, like, here we go,
right.
And then it was like, I think when she got the jitters out or what, you know, because Charlotte was on her game. She was on her game, like she still got it, bro. You know what I mean? She was on her game.
And you probably could say Tiffany got some on the job training tonight too.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like she grew up tonight, man.
Yeah.
You know, she grew up tonight, and she really, I really felt like, you know, of course we neither one of us expected that outcome.
Right.
But I was cool with that.
Yeah.
I was cool with that. But it was like Tiffany came out looking real good, but they didn't make Charlotte a little weak either.
Right. Yeah, so it was a good one. She favored it, you know, she played the knee a little bit.
Right.
You know, came out her entrance and her stuff that she wears is just like her dad. You know, if anything new, he gonna have something fresh. You know, and but she's the queen, dog. She's the queen. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to both of them taking care of business.
Tiffany had a cool the Barbie.
Yeah, the little Barbie, the dream house thing. Came out of,
that was cool.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at that. Like I say, wasn't mad at the match at all. Did not expect the outcome, didn't expect her to retain.
Right.
But also, by the time we got to that match, 3 titles had already changed. So
True.
It was, you were already thinking, well, they're not going to do
It was
all
clean
4.
sweep, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So definitely wasn't thinking that was going to happen.
Right.
You know. So, but we did kind of predict it though.
That's true.
You know, but anyway. Main event. Seth Rollins came out first with the flamethrower. The vignette was great, you know, to set up the match, by the way. And love how they introduced the Hall of Famers. Shout out to the Hall of Famers. Shout out to the new Hall of Fame rings. The rings are hard. Triple H came out there, did the thing with the water.
Right.
You know, you got to hear, you know, it's all about the game. You know, and you got to hear HBK music tonight and DX music tonight.
Right.
You know,
right.
So, and upcoming episode of Best Interest Music, by the way. But anyway, so Seth Rollins came out the flamethrower. He had all black on. Lights went out, came back. He had all white on.
That was dope.
Yeah, very.
Right.
Very. So everybody got you know, singing the song and doing the, you know, the humming and all that.
Right.
Then you got Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns came out fresh. And Roman Reigns don't do a lot. But I love it. When we talked about this, how they switch it up for WrestleMania.
Right.
A lot of guys got different colors that they normally won't wear. And as you know, the Bloodline and Roman Reigns, they wear black and red. So tonight he came out with the black pants like he always does, but with the little white logo, with the black and white glove and wristband and the black and white Jordan boots.
Right.
So he was clean, super clean tonight.
Right.
And then, you know, it came out by itself. You know, no wise man. Then you had CM Punk, the best vignette of the night, best video of the night. That was really cool how he was, you know, they played all his old entrance music. They showed some stuff from Ring of Honor.
Right.
Showed some stuff from ECW, you know, WWE's ECW. And then, you know, him doing the promos and how he looks now, and it kept switching back and forth. It was really cool. To bring him in last, you know, you had Living Color on there.
Right.
Singing Cult of Personality live. He showed all them love. And was out there with Paul Heyman. And we knew something was up because Paul Heyman was just doing too much. He was doing too much. He wasn't following behind with his hands folded like this.
Right.
Yes, my tribal chief.
He was hopping around everything.
Right.
You know,
doing too much. So you knew something was going to happen.
Right.
But all 3 had cool entrances. And the match was, first of all, the match was great.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And you didn't have to get nobody else involved but them 4.
Right.
Them 4, and that was it. Broke the tables outside. And Michael, they were talking about powerbomb through the table. Michael Cole said, might as well. He was like, hey, the Spanish table's still here.
Right.
That's always the first one to go.
Right.
You know? But, you know, it was just them 4. No, nothing unexpected. Nobody came in. And that was all night long.
Right.
So we'll see some kind of trickery tomorrow.
Yeah.
On night 2. But Easter Sunday, if that ain't still crazy, on 420. But yeah, man, how'd you feel about the match?
The match delivered. It was unbelievable. Paul Heyman, man, you know, just like I said, you know, before the match, because we knew he was going to be the key factor, obviously.
Right.
But what I say, Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
They kept showing that angle of him, his silhouette, you know, from the side, and like I promise you, I felt like I was watching Alfred Hitchcock, you know, like Psycho or something that you knew something was going to happen, man. But as far as the match itself, they hit all their spots, just counter after counter, Roman took a spear and a stomp.
Mm-hmm. And a GTS.
GTS. Well, 2 different times, like kicked out twice, you know.
Right. So he looked unstoppable like usual.
Right. Right.
They played it, you know, listen, they broke the tables, everybody did their stuff. Everybody got their moves in. Everybody looked good. Everybody played except for Seth Rollins. Everybody played toward the wise man, kept him involved. Like the camera angles kept him involved, you know, with showing his facial expressions. And I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Not only is Roman Reigns a dog and run through people, bro, he sells so good, man. He sells, and if he gets hurt, you know it.
Right.
If something looks like it hurt him, he's gonna make you feel like, man, he just kicked the shit out of him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's so good, bro.
That's true.
You know, to me, he's like he's past Cena as far as ability.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Not he ain't past Cena yet as far as overall everything else. But he's up there.
Yeah.
It's his company. Still.
Oh, no doubt.
It's his company. No doubt. He'll be on top again. You know, but as far as ability and all around, he's crazy on the mic now. You know, which is why he can be without Paul Heyman now.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. You know, and Bully Ray talked about it, Bubba Ray Dudley, and we talked about it earlier. You know, all them guys have been with Paul Heyman that were already superstars, but then shot them to the very top.
Right.
And that's what they're about to do with Seth Rollins, who's already on top, but he's about to take him through the stratosphere.
As a heel, top heel,
top heel.
Yeah, like, well, you know, I mean, history repeats itself.
Absolutely.
10 years ago, WrestleMania 31, when he was already aligned with Triple H, but, you know, the heist of the century.
Right.
You know, the greatest Money in the Bank cash in till this day ever.
Yeah.
You know, but it was his night again 10 years later.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, man, people know me, know I'm a big Seth Rollins guy.
Yeah.
And I was there going crazy.
Yeah.
You know, when Paul got behind Roman, I knew.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about that for a minute. So, and this is storytelling at its all-time high. When you got CM Punk and Roman Reigns both on the canvas looking at him, and he's got the steel chair. And he slides at the CM Punk. You see the disappointment in Roman Reigns.
Oh, man. Right.
Then he gets behind CM Punk. Low blow. He can't believe it. Falls over. My tribal chief takes the chair. Beats the crap out of Punk to get him out of the picture.
Right.
And then blows Roman Reigns. And then you got a camera angle right at Seth Rollins, who's got his back turned to everything that's going on.
Right. He didn't even watch it happen.
Right, but knows what happened, is taking it in, heel turn right there.
Gave him the chair. He didn't even look at him.
Right.
It was just like, he was like, yeah.
Yep.
And then the chair shot was just like when he
turned on him with the shield. It was
when there's always
a plan B.
Yep. Came full circle.
Right. So night one, super success.
Absolutely.
Jey Uso, new world champion. Jacob Fatu, U.S. champion. And the New Day, new tag champion.
Which broke the record.
Right. So they're 12 times. 12-time tag team champions. That's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy. Night 2 is gonna be crazy, dog. I'm excited. There's some good matches tomorrow night. We'll be covering night 2 next week on next week's episode. So that'll be episode 18. So this is episode 17. This has been the WrestleMania 41 review. Anything else you want to talk about before we cut it off? As far as what all you thought, what you saw, what to expect.
Well, real quick, you asked me how did we get here episode, my Rushmore.
Mm.
And tonight I have to make an announcement that I have to change my Rushmore. So my new Rushmore is Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and drum roll, please, The Game, Triple H. I had to take The Rock out. And the reason why, nothing against The Rock, I love The Rock. He's still probably going to be one of my favorite wrestlers, obviously.
Right.
But Triple H always been my favorites too. And it's hard to just put four. And Rushmore not necessarily my favorite wrestlers. It's just I have a Rushmore for a reason.
Right.
Kind of like a balance between my favorites and what I felt they accomplished in business, right?
Right.
Because Hulk Hogan definitely not my fucking favorite. But he's a Rushmore guy.
Let me tell you something, brother.
But looking at the Hall of Fame, like, see, I got Triple H on right now, Hall of Fame T-shirt.
Mm.
And we always say he's the best. He's our favorite heel in business.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
And that's saying a lot. Because we watched a lot of wrestling 40 years.
Yeah.
So.
And we love heels.
So, but just his Hall of Fame speech, just hearing, how he just talked about all the people that helped him. He said, nobody, I don't care who you are, everybody needs somebody to help get them where they're at today. And he named all the people, whether it be Lord Steven Regal or Terry Taylor or Double A Arn Anderson. He said stunning Steve Austin and came back and talked about Stone Cold Steve Austin and had the whole thing with talk about Mick Foley and he told Foley, how, hey, dude, you helped me show these people how tough I am and and help me get to that next level. And he talked about Arnold Schwarzenegger and how he when they did the thing with Arnold back in SmackDown, like Arnold had no clue how he idolized this dude, like for real, like dude, you my hero. You know what I mean? And only if dude knew what he meant to me at that very moment, and he was just so humble talking, and then he talking about the NXT, the Seth Rollins and the Becky Lynches and the Charlottes and and the NXT kids and just how Randy Orton and Batista and he was just talking about how he's watching these people walk in the door and watch them prosper and it was almost like watching his kids grow, and even they talking about even WrestleMania tonight, it was like majority of them started in NXT.
Right.
And that's when you really think about it, that's true.
Man, the Hall of Fame will do that to you.
Yeah.
And when I say that is you really getting to see the real person.
Right.
You're not seeing the game, the heel, this I'm better than everybody and this and this. Man, dude is a humble guy. He even shouted out Vince.
Right.
And did it in such a classy way.
Right.
And when I think about talking about China,
right?
There, he could have been real selfish and didn't even bring her up,
right?
But he's just not that type of dude,
right?
You go back to when they put DX in the Hall of Fame, and he was talking about China, and he looked down at her daughter, at her sister, and was like, "She's here with us," right? You don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And especially with the bad blood and the stuff that happened. Right. So I just think he's a super classy guy. I think he has a bad reputation with stupid wrestling fans. You know what I'm saying? As far as trying to say that. And then you still got some of the bitter boys that he booked himself to do this and booked himself to do that. That's a bunch of crap, man. Shout out to Triple H, man. I tell you one thing when I think about Triple H, and one story that I heard is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Hall Hall of Fame induction.
Okay.
And he was talking about being on a plane, and one of the young guys was coming up to talk to him. And not young guys, but one of the boys coming up there asking different stories about stuff and constantly saying, Mr. Steamboat, do you need anything? Do you have enough room? Can I scoot over? Can I get you anything? And he was like, and that guy's Triple H. And that's what he was talking about. Dusty Rhodes, his Hall of Fame induction. Triple H was hurt. And he was talking about all the young guys doing all that complaining and stuff. And then got to talk about Triple H not getting to be there.
Right,
and
right.
How hard he works and all this and that. And that's when Triple H got real emotional then. And then he was a heel at the time, but the crowd went crazy for him, you know. And, yeah, man.
What was that? That was 23. That was when Cena and HBK fought because Trish was hurt.
Because that's like 2008.
Yeah,
like 2008.
Statistician.
I was statistician for a second. Yeah, man. Shout out to Triple H. That was what a great speech. And we talked about it. Was it too early? And it, you know, everything that we said negative turned into a positive as far as the predictions we had and stuff. Because we talked even like with Michelle McCool.
Right.
When you remember that stuff, but you just don't remember, oh, she was the first Diva champion. Like she really was a trailblazer.
You know, that was cool too, seeing, of course, she's going to shout out the girls that she worked with,
right.
Natalia and all, Tori and all those. But it's cool seeing Layla. You know, they're talking about the Lay Cool thing.
Yeah, and she said get one more run.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. How, you know, she definitely paid homage to,
right.
You know, that run. You know, because they had some stuff going on, obviously.
Yeah. You
know, their run when they were double champions and all that kind of stuff. You know, they were the first tag champions when they were deep tag.
But yeah. So yeah, and then you had Ivan Koloff, Dory Funk Sr.,
right,
and Tugboat, Earthquake,
Luger,
and you know, and Lex Luger deserved it, man. He deserved to win there.
Oh, well, like we said before, you know, like we grew up watching Luger,
right?
The torture rack.
There ain't too many storylines in WCW that he wasn't involved in.
Yeah, we had the metal plate,
right?
You know,
flying form.
Yeah.
But we talked about it earlier, and you know, we did our managers episode, and we talked about Bobby the Brain Heenan. I had forgotten for just that even existed when he was the narcissist, that he was managed by Bobby Heenan.
Right.
You know, so that was crazy hearing that.
Right.
But all in all, the show was great. Hall of Fame was great. Cannot wait for night 2. This episode will be out Monday, so you can check us out before you check out Raw and see what all new things they got going on. And the next week we'll be giving you night 2, the review for night 2. But hey man, WrestleMania is here. Day 1's in the books. Tomorrow's a different story, so can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. But this is Welcome to Wrasslin. And real quick, we are in the same room, but for the first time, we got our executive producer in the building. Say what up, executive producer over there. He got his headphones in. He working on the
he like they do them Pat McAfee there.
He got his headphones in, trying to be as quiet as possible.
Right.
But executive producers in the building tonight. But yeah, man, welcome to Wrasslin. WrestleMania 41 Night 1 review in the books. And we will see y'all next week with Night 2.
Welcome to Wrasslin.
Hey, it's Welcome to Wrasslin.
Welcome to Wrasslin, Chetty Bobby. Welcome to Wrasslin with Big E and the PODCAst, tag champs of the whole world, slamming like a DDT. Got it like just like a figure four. Hulk Hogan, all they do is flex. Talking wrestling while they get the dough. Off the top like a superplex. Think they letting up? Hell no. Dusty Rose with the elbow. From the corner like a stinging splash straight to the face. I know you felt those. Hey, y'all crying out for help though. Rising up like the dead man. About to go upside your head like Stone Cold with the bedpan. Bottom line, if you want the facts, welcome to Wrestling where you need to be. Chatty Bobby, this show improve like John Cena, you ain't seeing me. Bottom line, if you want the facts, welcome to Wrestling where you need to be. Chatty Bobby, this show improve like John Cena, you ain't seeing me.